Well, in 2 weeks' time, November 26 to be precise, the Australian Bureau of Statistics will, for the very first time, start releasing a complete survey of inflation on a monthly basis. Historically, this has only been reported every quarter. The curious thing about our consumer price index is that it started in 1912 with just 46 items in the basket. Today, it comprises thousands of goods and services with millions of price observations. The main purpose of the new monthly inflation data is to give more timely and accurate information to the Reserve Bank, which targets inflation with its interest rate settings. The man presiding over this project, Australia's chief statistician and head of the Bureau of Statistics, Dr. David Gruen. Many thanks for your time, David. Always good to chat to you. Is this a big project for the Australian Bureau of Statistics to embark upon?
Yes, it is, Ross. We've been working on this for some time. As you know, we put out a monthly CPI indicator in 2022 when inflation had taken off, but that only updated two-thirds of the basket, roughly two-thirds of the basket each month. And we went to government and said, if the government could fund us to do a complete monthly CPI and completely revamp that part of our IT systems, then we would be able to do a monthly CPI.
I know you've put the number out somewhere. How much did it cost?
The total amount is about 160 million, but largely it's a function of updating a substantial amount of our IT infrastructure.
Okay, so my perception is that you have done this broadly for the Reserve Bank. Is that a correct assumption?
Well, I guess the Reserve Bank is certainly the customer that cares perhaps the most about a monthly CPI, but we're the only G20 country that doesn't have a monthly CPI. So in a sense, we're getting abreast of global best practice, and there will be other parts of the community, including the financial markets, that will find this valuable.
So there's a couple of charts that you've put out yourself. One is this monthly indicator of inflation, which everybody said was terribly unreliable. Hindsight being hindsight, looking back, it was more accurate at reflecting where inflation was going than I think many people presumed it was.
Yeah, I think it was very useful at a time when inflation was running pretty hot. But it did have the shortcoming that it was only two-thirds of the basket. I think you're right that it often showed the direction, but the benefit of the complete monthly CPI is that it'll be everything.
Okay, the other one, and we saw it a little moment ago on the screen, and that is that the band that the Reserve Bank follows, 2 to 3%, is the trim mean that it looks at.
Yep.
You can see that since that target was put in place, that inflation has really, except for some unusual exceptional circumstances, has not really taken off. So it would appear as though not only reporting inflation in a more timely manner, but then targeting inflation has actually worked in trying to really keep inflation out of Australia's economy.
I think that inflation targeting as a system has proven itself to be very effective. And certainly Australia's experience is like that.
Okay, so you talked about the goods and services. At the start I said it's now thousands of prices.
Yeah.
But it is
in
goods.
fact, millions.
That's right. It's goods and services.
Yes.
It's housing. It's all of these things go into that basket.
That's right.
When you calculate the trim mean, how do you work out which items to suddenly snip off at the top and the bottom?
So the way the trim mean works is that you take the distribution of all price changes from the lowest, which is usually a fall, to the highest, and you trim off the bottom 15% and the top 15% and take the average of the rest.
So the other point also that artificial intelligence is coming out. Your data is going to be scraped as much as anybody else's.
Sure.
What impact does that have, not only on the interpretation of your data, but then also the way in which it is used or misused in the future?
So one of the things we are working on with other statistical officers is to make our data, if you like, AI friendly, so that people will know that it's actually come from an official source rather than being scraped from somewhere else. So that's an important, now that more and more of people are accessing our information via AI, it's important that we keep up with that.
But the reality is you are still the source of the raw data for Australia's economic outcomes.
Absolutely.
Tell you what, Dr. David Gruen, always good to chat to you, and many thanks for your time today.
Thank you.